This building used to be the old stable, and this end was where the tack and the feed and whatnot was stored. And many years ago the roof collapsed, and a few years after that a bird ate a fuchsia berry, and in due course it passed through the bird, and we've got a fuchsia bush slash tree growing in the old building here, and it's very pretty in the spring and summer. But as things do, they're growing out. This is growing out this way. There's another fuchsia bush this side, it's growing this way. I've got to trim them off. It's a bit early in the year for doing it. Ideally you'd want to be trimming these late March into April. It is currently late February, but it's a nice day and I feel like doing it. It won't harm the bush much. One thing that will happen is it might not flower as much as it would do if I pruned it at the right time of year. But it's a heather to be in a bush. Here's the gap I'm talking about between the two bushes here. If I left it until summer, by the end of summer, the gap will be tiny. So these two are for the chop. As you can see, there's different thicknesses of branches. There's thin branches here, and it goes all the way further in. Near here the branches are quite thin. Back in there they're getting thicker. So I have my three weapons of choice. For the thinnest ones I've got my secateurs. For slightly thicker I have the loppers, and for thicker still I have the small chainsaw. I'd highly recommend the small chainsaw. Marvellous device. Saves you having to use the manual pruning saw. Right, let's get to pruning. I could struggle into the inside there with the wee chainsaw and take the bits off, but don't need to go to all that trouble. Just take off the easy bits to start with and move in. I just want to get this more or less level with the doorway, and that'll be enough for this year. And these ones coming off through the wall, those as well. It's not a standard thickness to consider when you're deciding what size of weapon to go with. Fuchsia is a fairly soft wood, so you can go to kind of this thickness with the loppers. Slower growing trees that are harder, you'd stop at a different thickness. Right, growly machine. Let's see. Yes, this can come off. Ooh, all these are in. It's weaved in. It's weaved itself in and out of these branches. They can probably both come off anyway. I'll do that. good. There's a couple of bits still coming out through the door, but I think no, we'll take these as well, these lower ones. Oops. I'm snipping off. I'm either going all the way back or cutting off at a leaf or a node. Yeah, let's take this one all the way back to there. That I think would do nicely. I'm getting a nice collection of branches here, which will go into the shredder once they've dried off a bit. But I want to do much the same here. The line of the path goes in here. So, choppity chop. It can be great fun and very satisfying pruning shrubs and trees and such like, and getting them to shape you want them. We'll see how these get on when the leaves start to come on them. I may trim them a bit more. But the problem now is I've got this pile of limbs and branches and whatnot to take up to me pile to dry before I shred them. Let's get on with that. Never be too tidy around trees and shrubs. Always leave some little bits for little bugs to live in. There we are, relatively tidy. There's still a few little bits of twig here that I'll mulch up so next time I'm through here with the mower, mowing this path. And there is a branch here which has come down low and it's layered itself. I'll leave that for now, and later in the spring I'll go and move it to somewhere that needs a fuchsia growing at it. But that's come out. And I've mounted my treble lower this week in the hope that I sound less like a wheezy old man. I've not mounted here. I noticed in last week's video I sounded awful wheezy. There you go. Let me show you where I'm storing the wood so that it can dry. Many years ago, when I was first an apprentice, the one thing that my colleagues knew about Orkney was that we couldn't grow trees. These are all the chopped off bits of tree which I have gathered through the winter. Sometimes a branch is broken or a tree's been canted over a bit with the wind and I've had to take the wind loading off the top of it, or things like that. Oddly enough, a big branch that's been taken off, the catkins are starting to come on them, so I may lop some of those off and stick them in the ground and see if they'll come as cuttings and trees and other bits I want trees. But other than that, these will dry off. I shall mulch them and I shall have shreddings to make a nice mulch with. There we go. I hope you've enjoyed this little look at me pruning some shrubs. If you did, a like, a comment and or a subscribe would be awfully nice. And subscribe's are free of charge, they don't cost any money. I shall be back next week with something else, and in the meantime, have fun till then.